Fender Stratocaster, which many of you are familiar with. This body shape is actually studied in engineering schools. The shape of the body is studied in engineering schools because it is the most successful ergonomic shape in history. You'll notice that not only is the profile cool looking, but it also has this cutaway here for your body, and it has a cutaway here for your arm. It's a successful ergonomic shape, and it was designed by a guy named Freddie Tavares, Portuguese guy. Portuguese people seem to be associated with guitar and ukulele. Ukulele means jumping flea in Hawaiian, and the person that introduced that to them was a Portuguese guy as well. So the Portuguese are very involved in guitars, as are Italian people. Those guys that were going like this, they went up the Mississippi River doing that same kind of stuff, found themselves jobs, and were able to buy electric instruments that had just come about. And there were light gauge strings, steel strings now available. Can you believe that some of that stuff they used to do back then was on, there were gut strings. They were like, when somebody says gut strings, what they were is the intestines of sheep. I don't know what they call them, what they thought they were made of, but they were intestines of sheep. How do you keep a string made from the intestines of a sheep in tune? I can't imagine. So finally they came up with steel strings. So these guys got electric guitars with light gauge strings, and then they formed bands. They got a drummer and a bass player and maybe another guitar player. And because swing music was popular at the time, they played blues with a swing beat. So it was no longer a solo guitar thing that it used to be. Now it's a band, and they're playing the same 12-bar blues that they used to, but now it's with a swing beat. Stopped being and came forward as a solo voice. The guitar player stepped out front as an instrumentalist, using those articulations that we talked about earlier, about how to get to the string, bend. And it sounds very vocal. It's very vocal the way that you approach the instrument. But he incorporated something, the blues guitar players incorporated something that actually hadn't been successfully incorporated on the guitar before. That's a vibrato. Violinists have vibrato. Human beings have vibrato. Oh, they'll do that oh thing. Violinists can do a vibrato. But a guitar player can't, because there's a fret there. And you can shake your finger all day long, but that's not much of a vibrato. What you want is a pronounced, lugubrious vibrato. And that's what those blues players did. They incorporated a very strong vibrato to a point now where you have to be a rock guitar player or a blues guitar player, you really need a very good, strong vibrato. And developing a strong vibrato can be very difficult. Most guitar players, most rock guitar players will use the edge of their hand right here as a fulcrum, down the neck just a little bit from where they're going to actually play the note, and use this as a fulcrum, and then very hard to do. You find it's easier with other fingers. And it's easier on other strings. And you can even bend and then vibrato. Okay, did that. Electric country. Can I get this clean now, with no distortion at all? Thank you. As many of you know, the first electric guitar-like instrument was actually a slide. It was a steel guitar. Supro, or no, it was Rickenbacker. It was the first one. Because people were Hawaiian crazy back then. I don't know if anybody has studied that era, but we go through, music fashion in the United States. There was a point in the late 20s. A little more. A little bit more. Thank you. Oh, everybody, Rick Sela, he's a wonderful guitar maker himself and does the repairs here at Retunes, and he made an absolutely gorgeous guitar for Dick not that long ago. Is it here? Do you have it here? If you get a chance, take a look at that later, as well as looking at Sylvan's guitars. The United States was Hawaii crazy. The reason that Florida became what it was is because it was the poor man's Oahu. This is for real. The only reason that Florida turned into what it is because Henry Flagler put a railroad down there, and people started raising pineapples, pretending it's Hawaii. But the United States was Hawaii crazy. You had to have a pineapple in your home, and you had, guys wore leis, those flower leis. It's just so stupid. But they would do the Hawaiian music stuff going on. Well, the country music seemed to take that over time. They took over the lap steel thing, and then they started playing tricks with it. I'll see if I can illustrate it. Imagine, if you will, that I have a bar right here for playing slide guitar, and I play the chord, and then I reach behind the bar with this other finger and then stretch that string. It gives you this sound. If I had the bar here, and then I reach behind the string, and then stretch it, I can hit these together, and this thing actually bends. The string bends. Like that. That's later on. That was done with a pedal. So you have a steel guitar with a pedal that would actually make that thing bend like that. Pedal steel guitar.